In this last lesson, we're going to just bring some general principles together that are connected to what we've been speaking about. One of them is the Maharal in the Memchet Dvarim Shatorah Nikneit Bahem, the 48 things by which one acquires Torah. So one of the things the Maharal says is Simcha. The Mishnah says Simcha, and the Maharal explains it to mean as follows. Simcha Mida Gedol, it's a very important quality, it's a very important characteristic, because when a person is besimcha, he's bishleimut. He has a sense of wholeness, and that is the infrastructure on which he can be a recipient of Torah. It says, Maharal, when a person is emotionally in turmoil, the emotional level is a lower level than the intellectual spiritual level. And for the Torah, the intellectual spiritual level, to be able to descend upon a person, for him to be a recipient of that higher level, the lower level has to be intact. There has to be an infrastructure on which that spiritual intellectual dimension can connect and bring him to a higher level of perfection. Without Simcha, says the Maharal, he's lacking the shleimut nafshi, he's lacking emotional well-being, and then he's not able to really be a recipient of the shleimut eloki. So we have to be always focused on making sure that our children are besimcha, that they're with joy, that they're enjoying Judaism, that the Shabbos table is an enjoyment, and that Yom Tov is an enjoyment, and that the challenges that they have, whether it's kashrus or some other challenge, that they're finding a way to enjoy it, to realize that, hey, I am accomplishing something. So we always have to be focused on making sure the child is besimcha, and this ties us back to what the Malbim said about how do we know what the person's natural tendencies are. And the Malbim said, what does he enjoy doing? And we want to make sure that the child enjoys Judaism, enjoys Yiddishkeit. The final thing we want to see is a lesson from a book called the Sfas Tamim, where again he quotes the pasuk and he focuses on one specific thing that is important in education, and his words are that the children always have to be warned, yitrachaku midibure sheker. Lying, says the Sfat Tamim, is the most important midah that has to be negated, that has to be neutralized. And he quotes the pasuk chanoch lenar al pi darko. And it says, he quotes a Gemara that says that a person is not supposed to promise a child something without intention of fulfilling it. And he writes, Im hivtiach yikayem, that a person who promises the child something has to fulfill it, says the Sfat Tamim. Otherwise, the child is going to learn that it's okay to lie. And he says that the child should never hear a parent telling something that's not true. We'll bring two examples of the importance of this midah from stories with Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky. One was the fact that when there was a phone call from him and he didn't want to take the phone call, so what many of us do is, tell the person on the phone I'm not home. And Rabbi Yaakov felt that was a terrible thing to do because the child is being told to tell a lie when the father or mother is sitting right there. And he said, just say he's not available, but don't say he's not home. Another very cute story is that once there were some guests over at Rabbi Yaakov's house, and one of the kids, when he was 3 years old, gets on the coffee table and starts dancing around in front of the guests. And Rabbi Yaakov didn't react. He just let it go. And the guests were a little uncomfortable, and one of them asked Rabbi Yaakov, basically asked him, is this how you educate your children? Just let him dance on the coffee table? And Rabbi Yaakov said, if the 3-year-old would have told a lie, he or she would have been immediately disciplined. Because if they tell a lie at 3, they're going to tell a lie at 14. But dancing on the coffee table, I am assuming that even though they're doing it at 3, when they're 14, they're not going to do that anymore. This is a lesson, first of all, on the importance of being honest. Rabbi Yaakov slipped in the fact that telling a lie is something that you have to discipline for. But going a little deeper, it pulls us back to the beginning of this series, and that is we have to make sure that when we educate children, we're always focused on their welfare, on the long-term benefit for them to turn in to Torah Jews, to well-functioning people in society, and that our education of our children can't be based on our ego, on our needs for social position, Chanoch lenar al pidarko. It has to be appropriate for the child. It has to be chinuch. Chinuch, as we said, is the preparation for the long-term purpose. And that is our great challenge as parents and as educators, preparing our children for their future and the future of Klal Yisrael.